If you have invested in the STI index for 20 years, you would have grown your monies by 3.75 times. That's still a pretty good return, correct? So why has STI index been such a laughing stock, especially in the last 5-10 years? If you see from periods from 2011 to 2020, that 10-year period, STI did not much, correct, in terms of gains. And this chart I'm showing you right now is a combination of dividends as well as capital gains. So you'll see that you have not made monies at all in this 10-year period. However, since COVID in 2020, STI index has recovered, and especially in the last 2 years, STI index has been on a tear. That is the green arrow over there. Today, when you're watching this, you may be thinking, hey Josh, have I missed the boat already? Is STI index way too high? I can't invest in it right now, correct? Well, maybe I have some good news for you, and that's why I created this episode to share with you why Singapore markets may be substantially higher next year. Hi guys, welcome back. I guess many of you are investors in Singapore markets, and I also guess that many of you have some shares in Singapore banks. Let's start with them because the three of them are our biggest contributors to the index, and their recoveries are the foundation to why STI has climbed. Over the last 5 years, DBS triple-digit gains, followed by OCBC and UOB. This is just price chart, doesn't include the dividends that you have enjoyed as an investor. But Singapore banks, I guess you're very familiar. You kind of know their story already. Or if you don't know yet, check out some previous videos I have. But what you may not know is that it's not just the banks that are recovering. There are many STI components that are gaining right now. Some of them are at all-time highs. Many of them are at least at 5-year highs. And the first one I'll start with is Singtel. Singtel is the next biggest company we have in Singapore after the three banks. And a problem of STI index was because Singtel has actually dropped substantially. 10 years ago, Singtel was the number 2 company in Singapore, but right now, it's even much smaller than UOB already. But very recently, Singtel has been on a tear. Mid of 2024, it started to skyrocket, correct? And while I'm not Singtel's biggest fan, I'm also happy that its recovery is hopefully a signal that overall markets would lift up higher. If you're keen on a full episode on Singtel, leave in the comment sections. Personally, I see today's price as being reached for Singtel already. Not financial advice, that's just my personal opinion. And I can justify why looking at its latest numbers. Within it, NCS, which is a key subsidiary, is growing quite well. But I guess this recovery in share price has been a lot with how it's been disposing successfully some of its key assets to unlock value. Again, if keen for an episode, let me know in the comment sections. Next company that has been on a tear is ST Engineering. Wow, you see this chart over here, you get scared, correct? Because it's really parabolic in 2025. ST Engineering had been stuck at $3 to $4 for the longest period. And suddenly when it sprouts up, it is almost a double. ST Engineering, if you don't know, owns a few key departments. They are in aerospace, one of the key leaders over there. They are in defense, and they are also in smart cities technology. Recently, they made acquisitions to grow in that segment. And if you're an ST Engineering shareholder, big congrats to you. Next Singapore blue chip, which has a Singapore name inside it, is none other than Singapore Exchange. SGX has been flat for the last 5 years, correct? But also in the last 1 year, it's been on a tear, going up by 50%. So all in all, if we see the top 10 in Singapore, you realize that 6 of them at least already are at 5-year highs. DBS, OCBC, UOB, Singtel, ST Engineering and SGX. All climbing up, so it's not just the banks only, but rather a more broad-based bull market. The only laggards, as you may already guess, are REITs and property developers. Once these two turn, STI could really fly. Next question is it just these big companies only, and not really broad-based? Well, I got good evidence to show you. The smaller blue chips as well as the small cap companies in Singapore, many of them are also doing well. Sembcorp Industries, all-time high right now, tripling in the last 5 years. That's after they disposed away Sem Marine, did a proper reconstruction, and right now, market is valuing it very well. On the small cap segment, Propnex, as you can see over here, one of my biggest holdings right now, is cracked $1 and looking to break out right now. Another company I also own, Baostit Singapore. It had been flat for quite a long while, but recently it's been surging upwards. These are some examples that I have analyzed before. I'll try to leave links above for you to follow a bit more on them if you're curious. And that leads to the next chapter I have for you on why Singapore markets may be substantially higher by next year. The first tailwind is actually this, which is the Equity Market Development Program by MAS. They are creating a 5 billion fund to invest into companies that are not yet on the STI index. Maybe they are grooming the second generation to be fed in, correct? And that creates vibrancy in the exchange. And this report by DBS is very interesting. They have shortlisted 8 companies with market cap of at least 300 million that can benefit from this renewed investor attention under this program. A few criteria: they have net cash and they have an attractive dividend yield. And when they screen for it, these are 8 names that immediately surface. Let's go through them one by one. The first is ComfortDelGro. ComfortDelGro has dropped out of STI index, and that's why maybe they can qualify for this. But having said that, ComfortDelGro seems to be on a recovery leg. Competition for Grab is an old news already, and they've been growing globally, acquiring contracts to run railways in Scandinavia and down under in New Zealand. Then other names: Hong Leong Asia, SIA Engineering. SIA Engineering is also doing very well in the last 5 years, as you can see in the chart over here. Then other names such as UMS, which is in the semicon industry, Franken Group, also the same, and iFast Corp. iFast Corp is a fintech firm. If you're looking to find a bit more, I have tutorials covering them and why I'm an investor also. And lastly in this list are economic proxies, Raffles Medical and Propnex. Raffles Medical is still on hard times, but Propnex, as what I covered just now, is close to an all-time high. So all in all, these are 8 names that DBS has screened that makes sense to attract at least a portion of this 5 million investment from MAS. And speaking of that, don't discount 5 million. 5 million is not going to move the market, what? Actually, not true. Singapore's total market cap is 7 to 800 million right now. But this MAS fund, again, is not targeting those on the index, which means they are not going to point to banks and Singtel and Keppel. They are not doing so. They are looking for smaller companies outside of the index, which means the total universe could be 50 to 100 billion only. This 5 billion fund could be easily 5 to 10% of the total market cap of this universe, and in my opinion, can substantially move the valuation of company. Again, that's my interpretation of what this DBS research feels also, not investment advice, but you think about it. Maybe of this list, there are some merits to investing into some of them. If you have learned something already, help me smash the like button and press on subscribe, especially let me cover topics on Singapore shares, like what we mentioned, Singtel, or some of the small cap names like iFast. I'm a personal investor and I'm curious also to see their growth. So again, smash on subscribe to stay tuned for more good quality content. I still have a second tailwind as to why Singapore markets may move substantially higher by next year. And it's actually when I realized that there are many family offices set up in Singapore. 2024, that number has climbed to 2,000 already. So over the last few years, that's easily a quadruple. Bill Gates himself, with his stamp of approval, I think this number is going up for sure. And when family offices set up here, do you know that they have a mandate to make investments as part of the criteria? Of course, each family office may have its own preference or expertise. They can even choose to donate instead of invest, etc. etc. But if they would like to invest, there are criteria, and this is a list on how they can fulfill their capital deployment requirement. Option 1 is the first thing that we can focus on, which means 10% of their AUM or 10 million needs to go into equities, REITs, business trusts or ETFs listed on approved exchanges. SGX is of course an approved exchange, which means also there is a lot of money coming into Singapore, and some would most naturally choose to invest into Singapore stocks. In my opinion, it's the easiest because it's liquid and traded. And once share price goes up, there'll just be more and more preference to have it allocated over there. Good news, correct? Hopefully it will trigger you to think also a bit deeper, investing in Singapore stocks. The usual pushback has been performance is not very good. But if we see what's happening globally, especially with what Donald Trump is doing, his latest one big beautiful bill is thinking of changing the dividend tax for non-US investors. This is still a news story and again not confirmed, But what that means also for non-US investors is that whether you buy directly on US exchange with 30% dividend tax or go through routes such as London-listed, Irish-listed ETFs, those dividends could get taxed higher in future. There is political risk in US right now, and if you think about it, global investors are all thinking whether the appeal of US stocks are that good after all. In a 1-year chart, STI index has outperformed S&P 500. You realize that, hey, maybe it's not so bad after all. Not saying plow everything into STI, but that also means don't plow everything into S&P 500. The days that STI or Singapore markets are boring may have passed already, and moving forward, there could be sunshine ahead. Thank you for watching the very end, and with that, I'll introduce you to some of my previous tutorials on Singapore stocks that I've mentioned just now in this tutorial. Check them out, and hopefully it can help you in your investment journey. With that, I'll sign off from me and see you there. Take care as always. Goodbye.